So what exactly happened in the beginning? That's the question we're going to be tackling today. Welcome to the Trump of God Ministries. We're glad you're here. If this is the first time you're joining us, we'd love for you to give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you can be notified of future videos. You can leave comments below. Please keep it civilized. According to Genesis, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So what does science have to say about this? This will be our second video in our science series. The first one we tackled the flat earth issue, which has been a heated topic lately. Today we're going to be tackling the topic of the multiverse. So let's find out what recent science has said about this. Back in 1926, there was an astronomer by the name of George Lemaitre, and he proposed a new theory. Up to this point, many scientists had believed that the universe was eternal and constant, but this astronomer proposed that the universe had a definite beginning and that the universe was expanding outward. He was met with a lot of criticism initially and a lot of skepticism, but in 1929, another astronomer by the name of Edwin Hubble discovered that there was a redshift in distant galaxies because they were moving away from us, and the only light that we saw was the red tint or the red shade of light because they are at a lower wavelength than the other hues of light, thus confirming what Lemaitre had stated initially in his theory of the absolute beginning of the universe. It wasn't until 1949 that another scientist and astronomer by the name of Fred Hoyle would coin the phrase Big Bang. And now when Fred Hoyle used the phrase Big Bang, he was not a proponent of the beginning of the universe. He was using the term Big Bang as a derogatory term for what George Lemaitre had proposed, but in doing so, he cemented the theory of the Big Bang and the absolute beginning of the universe. Since then, in 1964, there were two scientists, two radio astronomers by the name of Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, who discovered a cosmic microwave background radiation to the universe, which Lemaitre had predicted would be so back in 1926 in his theory, if the universe had an absolute beginning. So there was another confirmation in 1964 that the universe did have an absolute beginning. Fred Hoyle didn't want to accept this. He was not a proponent of the Big Bang Theory for the very reason that to accept a Big Bang Theory was to accept what the Bible was saying in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1, where it says that there was an absolute beginning to the universe because God had created it. So he was basically saying that it was scientific suicide to accept that the universe had an absolute beginning. But since then and in present time, most scientists readily accept the Big Bang Theory as the theory that describes our known universe. Okay, now there was another theory proposed in 1989, 40 years after Fred Hoyle, by two astronomers, John Gribben and Martin Rees, who, when looking at the evidence, proposed a fine-tuning argument based on a newly discovered cosmological constant. Basically, the cosmological constant is an energy that irradiates from everywhere in the universe, whether there's matter there or empty space. This energy is consistent and constant throughout the entire known universe. and it pretty much holds everything in balance, and it allows the universe to be expanding at the rate at which it is expanding nowadays. They looked at this cosmological constant and they said, well, this is so finely tuned that there has to be a designer. Okay, and now the cosmological constant that they were looking at has properties of 1 in 10 to the 120th power of fine tuning, meaning that if the cosmological constant was to be moved by 1 in 10 to the 120th power, that's a 10 with 120 zeros behind it, then the universe as we know it could not exist. It would be either a barren universe, a universe that isn't capable of life, or there simply would not be a universe there. Obviously, just like George Lemaitre in 1926, this theory, this argument, has been met with a lot of criticism and a lot of skepticism from the scientific community who do not believe in a designer. Richard Dawkins stated that if this designer were to exist, he would be the physicist of physicists. And I readily accept that. I already understand that he is King of Kings and Lord of Lords, so to give him the title of physicist of physicists is fine in my book. However, atheists, since the argument of fine-tuning has come up, atheists have tried to come up with another theory that explains away the fine-tuning of our universe, namely the multiverse theory that has been propounded in the recent years. Okay, now there are several multiverse theories out there, some which are so preposterous I can't even give credence, such as parallel universes, which state that our universe, for every decision that we make in our universe, there is another universe where we made the opposite decision. For example, if you decided that you were going to turn right at the stoplight, there was another universe where you turned left at the stoplight. If you wore a white shirt, there's another universe where you wore a blue shirt, and another universe where you wore a black shirt. Okay, so that is the parallel universe theory, which doesn't hold water at all, and I don't think any serious scientists actually hold to this theory. But there is another more popular theory, which is the theory of infinite universes. And this theory pretty much piggybacks off of what was believed prior to 1926. I already mentioned in 1926, most scientists believed that the universe was eternal and constant. The Big Bang Theory disproved that the universe was eternal and constant by proving that there was an absolute beginning. So now what scientists have done is a bait and switch where, okay, this universe has an absolute beginning, but that is only because there are infinite universes out there and the multiverse is infinite. There is a serious issue that arises from this, serious problem, because that theory cannot be observed, cannot be tested, and therefore cannot be disproven, which goes against everything that is scientifically sound, so to say. Steven Weinberg, even though he is an atheist physicist, in one occasion admitted to the fact that the cosmological constant, the fine-tuning was disturbing, and the fact that there could be multiple universes out there hasn't been proven, cannot be proven, therefore will not be proven. So it has to be taken on faith. So basically what atheists have done, instead of believing in the designer, a God that created the heavens and the earth, they have decided that they are going to believe in a multiverse, that they're going to put their faith in something that cannot be observed, okay, that there is absolutely no proof of, in order to not believe what the Word of God says. There's another theory called string theory, and string theory tries to be the theory of everything, the theory that is going to explain everything, and therefore we will no longer need a God. The only problem is this string theory has never worked, and scientists have been trying for years now, and they have never been able to make the string theory work. Even though it has practical applications in mathematics, when it comes to explaining our known universe, it absolutely fails, miserably fails. Why? First off, the string theory requires a universe that has 10 dimensions, whereas our universe, we live in a universe with only 3 dimensions. Okay. Secondly, when scientists try to bring down that number of dimensions, string theory at that point breaks down and can no longer explain how our universe works. String theory absolutely falls flat on its face when trying to explain our universe, much less trying to explain an infinite universe. To explain an infinite universe, string theory, and this was proposed by Steven Weinberg himself, string theory needs to be precise within 1 in 10 to the power of 500. Now, if the cosmological constant was disturbing to Steven Weinberg, the string theory should be 500 times at least more disturbing to him and unpractical than it is for multiple universes to exist, where one out of those universes has exactly the right properties that ours has in order for life to arise. Okay? We have to come to terms with the fact that there is a designer, and that our universe exists as it is today because it came into being because God spoke it into being. Now, John chapter 1, verse 1 through 3 says, in the beginning, just like Genesis, was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. And verse 3 is where I really want to hang out here for a while. It says, all things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that has been made. Okay. Now, Richard Dawkins, in one point, tried to say that, if we were going to propose a designer, then we would have to explain a designer, and science cannot do that. And he's absolutely right. Science cannot explain God. But that is why God left us his word to tell us who he is and why he does the things that he does. Okay, science has limits. God is limitless. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon down below so you can be notified of future videos. Thank you, and God bless.